a goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Former President Trump said in his previous speech, "We will be back in some form." And just as he had announced, he repeated. Donald Trump has established the office of the former president in Florida. According to the article, Trump officially announced on January 25th that he had opened the former president's office to continue the Trump administration's agenda. According to the official statement, the Secretariat will manage the correspondence, official statements, and official activities of Trump, thereby continuing the Trump administration's agenda and carrying out official activities promoting and regarding the U.S. interest. Before this official statement, many people wondered how Trump would act. However, Trump took his first political step on January 23rd. On this day, Trump said he supports Senator Kelly Ward, the current Republican chairwoman of Arizona, and his call was revealed via Senator Kelly's Twitter.
Stand by for a special message from President Donald J. Trump.
Hello, Arizona. This is President Donald Trump, and I need you to help us with somebody that's really worked hard and done a great job. That's Kelly Ward. She's running to be reelected as the Republican chair of the Arizona Republican Party. And she is a terrific person. She's a person I know. She's somebody that you'll never find anybody more dedicated to every aspect of what we're all dedicated to. And so I give her my complete and total endorsement, whether it's the Second Amendment or so many other things that she's for, and very, very heavy on our military and election integrity, all of the things that we want. That's Kelly Ward, and nobody will outwork her. So I give my complete and total endorsement to Kelly Ward. Thank you very much.
Also on January 25th, Trump made another official statement to support the candidacy of Sarah Sanders, a former White House spokeswoman during the Trump administration for governor of Arkansas. The next video shows her running for Arkansas governor.
In the pitch black of night, with no lights on the plane or runway, Air Force One touched down in war-torn Iraq. Nearby, hundreds of troops had gathered at a remote military base in the desert to celebrate Christmas. They expected to be joined by senior military leadership, but instead got their commander-in-chief. The room erupted. A young soldier yelled from the back of the room, "Mr. President, I re-enlisted in the Army because of you." And the president replied, "And son, I'm here because of you." That soldier then came over to me and said, "Thank you, Sarah. I love the way you handle yourself. You have a tough job." I politely corrected him and told him thanks, but I take questions. You take bombs and bullets. That's a tough job. The soldier silently reached up and tore the Brave Rifles patch from his arm and handed it to me and said, "We're in this together." Overwhelmed with emotion and speechless, I just hugged him, with tears in my eyes and a grateful heart for our heroes who keep us free. America is great because we are free, but today, our freedom and the rule of law are under attack. I was the first White House press secretary to require Secret Service protection because of a credible, violent threat against me. We've seen violence in our streets, at a congressional baseball practice, and at our Capitol. This is not who we are as Americans. To remain free, we must have law and order and resolve our differences peacefully. The radical left's solution is to impose government control and censorship from the top down. But their socialism and cancel culture will not heal America. It will only further divide and destroy us. Everything we love about America is at stake. And with the radical left now in control of Washington, your governor is your last line of defense. In fact, your governor must be on the front line. So today, I announce my candidacy for governor of Arkansas and ask for your prayers and your support. As governor, I will defend your right to be free of socialism and tyranny, your Second Amendment right to keep your family safe, and your freedom of speech and religious liberty. Our state needs a leader with the courage to do what's right, not what's politically correct or convenient. I took on the media. the radical left, and their cancel culture. And I won. As governor, I will be your voice and never let them silence you.
She explained that the main reason she ran for governor was because Trump supported when she left the White House in 2019. The following is Trump's tweet from that time. Of course, his tweet was deleted, so we can't see the original tweet. After 3.5 years, our wonderful Sarah Huckabee Sanders will be leaving the White House at the end of the month and going home to rest the state of Arkansas. She is a very special person with extraordinary talent who has done an incredible job. I hope she decides to run for governor of Arkansas. She would be fantastic. Sarah, thank you for the job well done. On the 25th, in an open letter to Sarah Sanders, Trump used a new political slogan, Save America, instead of Make America Great Again. Like this, Trump has been trying to secure majority in Congress through active support for only those he believes. So what is Trump going to do for himself? Former U.S. Ambassador to Germany Richard Grenell said over the weekend that Trump had told him that he wants to run for the presidency again. Grenell told Newsmax, "He told me personally multiple times that he does want to run again." And Trump campaign aides say that Trump would be in the 2022 midterm election to help Republicans regain their majority positions in the Senate and the House of Representatives. At the end of the article, he also made it clear that it was rumored that Trump was about to start a new party called the MAGA Patriot Party. In response, some analysts say that Trump's formation of a new party will not help, but will be at a disadvantage in the fight against the current ruling Democratic Party, as the existing Republican support forces will be divided between the two parties. In the meantime, Trump's impeachment proceedings are still ongoing. Trump's impeachment trial will take place next month. Biden said the impeachment proceedings against Trump should continue, but admitted that Trump is unlikely to be convicted. This is the first time a president who has finished his term at the White House has been faced impeachment. In this situation, however, there are increasing demands among Republican senators that it is illegal to proceed with the impeachment of Trump, a private citizen. All Democratic senators are in favor of Trump's impeachment, but 2/3 of all U.S. senators must agree for the impeachment to proceed, which would require 70 more U.S. Republican senators to approve the impeachment. On January 26, Senator Rand Paul voted on whether the impeachment of Trump, who has finished his term as president and is now a normal citizen, is constitutional.
This impeachment is nothing more than a partisan exercise designed to further divide the country. Democrats claim to want to unify the country, but impeaching a former president, a private citizen, is the antithesis of unity. Unity is the opposite of this travesty we are about to witness. If we are about to try to impeach a president, where is the Chief Justice? If the accused is no longer president, where is the constitutional power to impeach him? Private citizens don't get impeached. Impeachment is for removal from office, and the accused here has already left office. Hyper-partisan Democrats are about to drag our great country down into the gutter of rancor and vitriol, the likes of which has never been seen in our nation's history. Democrats are wasting the nation's time on a partisan vendetta against a man no longer in office. It's almost as if they have no ability to exist except in opposition to Donald Trump. Without him as their boogeyman, they might have to legislate and to actually convince Americans that their policy prescriptions are the right ones. This sham of an impeachment will ostensibly ask whether the president incited the reprehensible behavior and violence of January 6th, when he said, "I know everyone here will soon march to the Capitol to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard." Peacefully and patriotically, hardly words of violence. Now look, I disagreed. I don't think Congress should overturn the Electoral College. But impeaching or censoring or expelling a member of Congress you disagree with? Is the truth so narrow that only you know the truth? We now have the media on your side saying there is only one set of facts, one set of truth, and you can only interpret it this way. Now, in a few minutes, I will insist on a vote to affirm that this proceeding we are about to enter is unconstitutional, that impeachment of a private citizen is illegal and essentially a bill of attainder.
And 45 Republican senators voted from Trump's impeachment is unconstitutional. And Ron Paul said on Twitter that it is very unlikely that the Senate will impeach Trump in the future. He said this trial is dead on arrival in the Senate. And because Senator Ron Paul voted on the constitutionality of Trump's impeachment trial, interest in him increased, which made his interview about the integrity of the previous election become a hot topic.
Senator Paul, let me begin with a threshold question for you. This election was not stolen. Do you accept that fact?
Well, what I would say is that the debate over whether or not there was fraud should occur. We never had any presentation in court where we actually looked at the evidence. Most of the cases were thrown out for lack of standing, which is a procedural way of not actually hearing the question. There were several states in which the law was changed by the Secretary of State and not the state legislature. To me, those are clearly unconstitutional, and I think there's still a chance that those actually do finally work their way up to the Supreme Court. Courts traditionally and historically don't like to hear election questions. But yes, were there people who voted twice? Were there dead people who voted? Were there illegal aliens who voted? Yes, and we should get to the bottom of it. I'll give you an example. In my state, when we had a Democrat Secretary of State, she refused, even under federal order, to purge the rolls of illegal voters. We got a Republican Secretary of State, and he purged the rolls.
Senator Paul,
I have to make a difference, and those things
I have to stop
occur.
you there. No election is perfect, but there were 86 challenges filed by President Trump and his allies in court. All were dismissed. Every state certified the results after investigations, counts, and recounts. The Department of Justice, led by William Barr, said there's no widespread evidence of fraud. Can't you just say the words, this election was not stolen?
What I would suggest is that if we want greater confidence in our elections, and 75% of Republicans agree with me, is that we do need to look at election integrity, and we do need to see if we can restore confidence in the elections.
Well, 75% of Republicans agree with you because they were fed a big lie by President Trump and his supporters who say the election was stolen. Why can't you say
I think where
President Biden won a legitimate and fair election?
Hey, George, where you make a mistake is that people coming from the liberal side like you immediately say everything's a lie instead of saying there are two sides to everything. Historically, what would happen is if I said that I thought there was fraud, you would interview someone else who said there wasn't. But now you insert yourself in the middle and say the absolute fact is that everything I'm saying is a lie.
Well, because, Senator, I said what the president said was a lie because he said, hold on a second. He said the election was stolen. This election was not stolen. The results were certified in every single state after counts and recounts.
You're saying that absolutely it was. You're saying there was no fraud and it's all been investigated. That's just not true.
It's not what I said, sir. I said the Department of Justice found no evidence. Let me finish my point.
You said
something that was not true.
You say we're all liars. You're just simply saying we're all liars. And
I said it was a lie that the election was stolen.
Premise that you're right and we're wrong. Well, let's talk about the specifics of it. In Wisconsin, tens of thousands of absentee votes had only the name on them and no address. Historically, those were thrown out. This time they weren't. They made special accommodations because they said, oh, it's a pandemic, and people forgot what their address was. So they changed the law after the fact. That is wrong. That's unconstitutional. And I plan on spending the next 2 years going around state to state and fixing these problems. And I won't be cowed by liberals in the media who say, there's no evidence here and you're a liar if you talk about election fraud. No, let's have an open debate. It's a free country.
There's no widespread evidence of election fraud that overturned the results. That was stated as well by the Department of Justice, led by President Trump's Attorney General. In Wisconsin, there were counts and recounts.
Actually, it was never studied. Even that's not true. Even that's not true.
William Barr said that directly.
Barr said that, but there was. Yes, he said that, yes. That was a pronouncement. There has been no examination, thorough examination of all the states to see what problems we had and see if they could fix them. Now, let me say, to be clear, I voted to certify the state electors because I think it would be wrong for Congress to overturn that. But at the same time, I'm not willing just to sit here and say, oh, everybody on the Republican side is a liar and there is no fraud. No, there were lots of problems, and there were secretaries of state who illegally changed the law, and that needs to be fixed. And I'm going to work hard to fix it, and I won't be cowed by people saying, oh, you're a liar. That's the problem with the media today, is they say all Republicans are liars and everything we say is a lie. There are two sides to every story. Interview somebody on the other side, but don't insert yourself into the story to say we're all liars because we think there's some fraud in the election.
There are not two sides to the story. This has been looked at in every single state. The election results were certified in every single state. There are two sides to every story.
George, you're forgetting who you are. You're forgetting who you are as a journalist. If you think there's only one side, you're inserting yourself into the story to say, I'm a liar because I want to look at election fraud and I want to look at secretaries of state who illegally changed the voter laws without the permission of their state legislatures. That is incontrovertible. It happened. And you can't just sweep that under the rug and say, oh, nothing to see here, and everybody's a liar and you're a fool if you bring this up. You're inserting yourself into the story. A journalist would hear both sides, and there are two sides to this story.
I'm standing by facts. There are not two sides to facts. I did not say that this was a perfect election. I said the results were certified. I said it was not stolen. It is a lie to say
people are liars. You're saying people are liars if they want to investigate what happened in the election.
That's not what I said.
The fact that tens of thousands of absentee ballots did not have addresses on them and normally were disqualified, but this time they were counted? Should we examine that? I don't know whether it affected the election or not, but I have an open mind, and if we actually examine this and we find out it didn't, that's fine, but it still should be fixed.
There can be more investigations. The investigations that have taken place have shown there is not enough fraud to change the results of this election. That has been certified by every state. It was stated by the Justice Department and the Attorney General.
And I accepted the state certifications, but it doesn't mean that I think that there wasn't fraud and that there weren't problems that have to be investigated, and it doesn't mean that the law wasn't broken. I believe in Pennsylvania they broke the law, and I believe if that ever would get a real hearing in the Supreme Court, it was denied for standing. It wasn't actually taken up. If it were taken up, I do believe that the Supreme Court would overrule and say that they did break the law illegally.
I asked you a very simple question. Was the election stolen or not?
I think there was a great deal of evidence of fraud and changing of the election laws illegally, and I think a thorough investigation is warranted.
Senator Paul, thanks for your time this morning.
This is one of the examples, but as you saw, the mainstream media played an important role in creating the current situation in the United States. There may be more than one opinion for one situation, but the mainstream media criticized the other side, claiming that only one opinion is correct. Meanwhile, one of Biden's latest remarks when he was signing the executive orders is now attracting a lot of attention. Some people believe that in this part, Biden says, I don't know what I'm signing, and Kamala Harris says, just to sign it. On the other hand, some people say that this is a typical Republican conspiracy theory, and some people claim like this. Biden said this pen is too shiny, and Kamala Harris said just too shiny. It's up to you to decide whether he said I don't know what I'm signing or this pen is too shiny. Anyway, who would have expected that a former president would be impeached right after he became a normal citizen again? And who would expect a controversy like the one made by Biden, which suggests that he doesn't even know which executive orders he is currently signing? Every day more unusual things coming our way. What do you think of this video? Thanks for your watching, comments, likes, and most important, sharing. Be safe.